it's Dizen, and welcome to GOML. Get on my level forever. It's a fighting game and Smash tournament. We're gonna see what's going on and try to get some T.Os. Let's go. Hey y'all, we're back, and today we have an interview with Fluxwavez. Now, we're just gonna ask you a few questions. First off, what have you been up to lately? Any new projects or games?
Well, up to lately, it's been a lot of life. Full-time job. I got a new job about a month ago,
Nice.
and it's been a lot of dealing with that and my family, like my girlfriend, kid, and just taking care of those things. I haven't had a lot of time to, grind in my fighting game, but I try to play here and there. So it's been a lot of that in terms of games, other than Street Fighter 6 when I can get the time. I've been playing a lot of Blueprints with my girlfriend. It's an interesting puzzle game. Been having a lot of fun with that, and some Dragon Age, the original one, when I can. That's about it for now.
Okay, that's fair. You gotta take care of life and family first. Well, what first got you into fighting games?
That's an interesting one. I guess one of my first ever video games when I got the Nintendo 64 when I was like 7 years old was a game called Clay Fighter 63 and a third. I don't know if many people know the Clay Fighter series, but that was one of my first, games, and it was a fighting game. And I guess that got me interested in the flow of fighting games, the challenge. But I didn't really take it seriously until Street Fighter 5 in 2016. I played fighting games here and there on a very casual basis, but that's the first time with Street Fighter 5 that I found a community, and I started really understanding fighting games and wanting to get better results and become make a bigger splash in the community. So that's really, with Street Fighter 5 is really when I started playing competitively, but I started playing fighting games since I was 7, I guess.
Awesome. And who did you play in Street Fighter 5?
I started with Armika. She's I love her too. I played her, mostly the reason I play characters is because their aesthetics. I like how they look, or their personalities. And Armika, in her character's live stream, she said, "I'll kick your ass," and stuff like that. So I gravitated towards her. And then the playstyle was secondary. But after her, a couple years in, I started playing other characters like Manat, Poison. I even played Abigail. I played with a lot of different characters. But after Armika, I mostly gravitated towards keep away zoner characters. So Poison, Manat, that kind of thing.
Cool, I love to hear that. So, and currently, who do you main, for people who don't know? Who do you main, and what draws you to that character?
So in Street Fighter 6, I pretty much main JP. What draws me to him, again, is his look, his personality. I like final boss type characters. I like antagonists. So that drew me to him a lot. And yeah, continuing with the Manat Poison kind of thing, the JP. I wanted to play JP right when I saw his character design. I knew I'd want to play him. I didn't know how he would play, but I knew I wanted to play him. And as it turns out, he plays the way that I like to play, from afar, throwing a bunch of stuff, screen pollution, that kind of thing. And Aki is the second character I play a lot of. When I saw her character design from the League designs way back, I knew I'd want to play her. And she plays a bit differently, like hit and run, in your face, out of your face, that kind of thing. But I like how she looks. I like her personality. Again, she's an antagonist, so that drew me to her as well.
Same, I like those characters, and they're all very intimidating.
Yes, I do like that too.
What do you find toughest part about competing in tournaments?
It used to be the stress, I guess. That's a kind of a blanket statement, but I used to have a lot of nerves when I was put on stream, heart beating, that kind of thing, and that would affect my play too. You'd get distracted by everything around you, what everyone's saying, what they might think, just the stress of everyone's eyes on you. Of course, through time and through exposure, that became less of a big deal. It's still a factor. It's less of a factor. I think now the toughest part might be the travel. The time that you put into traveling, the money you put into traveling, and especially now that I don't have the time to train, it's harder to put in that money and time to travel to a place and and maybe not do as well as you'd like. So yeah, I guess that I don't have a really clear answer regarding that. Sorry, but it used to be the stress. There's still, I think everyone gets stressed even at the highest levels. The punks, the items, everyone is. It's about managing that stress. Everyone has their own ways of doing it, and I think I found mine.
So when you're doing tournament prep, do you have a routine you do?
I used to. I'd say if it were optimal and up to me, I would be taking notes on all of my opponents that I might be likely to face in brackets. I would study them, take notes. I would train specifically for them and their characters. It's what I used to do back when I had more time, and that I definitely got results based on those notes and that studying. And it's something I'd like to get back to. So yeah, I'm very much about taking notes, taking my phone out, looking at those notes right before fighting that opponent, so that I can remember what I need to do, listen to my Priya's voice. I like having that kind of guidance. When I don't have that guidance, I can get a bit lost and become a bit autopilot in the way I play. So yeah, those are really what helps me the most in terms of preparation.
Awesome. Those are some good tips. Do you have a favorite memory or moment from a tournament you played in?
I guess my favorite memory, well, there are a few. Daigo, who I fought at EVO 2017 on Street Fighter 5. Almost beat him. I was one command grab away, but then he sent me to losers. And then it was, I think it was EVO 2023 in Street Fighter 6. I fought Daigo once again in winners, and it was 1-1, and he. I think I was like 1 round or 2 rounds away from beating him. I was close. Of course, he beat me again and sent me to losers. But it was fun, just every time. And those are the 2 only times I've gone to EVO. So it's fun that every time I go to EVO, I face Daigo. Maybe next time I'll face Daigo again.
That's crazy.
And there was also an event. I think it was the Red Bull Gaming something in Santa Monica in 2017. It was like a team tournament that I was sent to with fellow Montreal players, Chirithi and Snafu. And we represented the region really well. I did really well. And it was like my first big splash, and a lot of people didn't know my name or who I was.
Okay.
But there I was able to perform against, a lot of strong players from the US and that. And that's a good memory that I have. Sure. It was my first time really traveling outside of Canada for a tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. How do you feel about where the FGC is right now?
I know a lot of people have their opinions. I've never felt totally integrated with FGC, and when I have, it's really my local community. I've been part of many different fighting games. I've played Mortal Kombat competitively, so I'm familiar with the NRS scene. I've played anime games competitively, so I'm familiar with the Air Dashers too, and now Street Fighter. They all have their distinct, flavor, and that's fun. And overall, I think the FGC is healthy. It's in a healthy place. In terms of events, it's a bit harder now, especially for the Canadian FGC.
Yes.
It's harder to travel. I don't think we get as much of the spotlight as we'd like to.
I know.
We don't have as many events, especially now anymore. Like Canada Cup is not a thing anymore. And there's, sadly. So, it's in a healthy place, but I'd like to see, especially again, the Canadian FGs, I'd like to see us be valued more. We have a lot of talent. In international events, we have made a splash. Saif got top 8 in Capcom Cup last year. And we're all doing really well. So I'd like to see us be valued for that.
Me too. I love to see it. Every time I'm cheering you guys on from the sidelines. And last question, what advice would you give to someone who's just getting into fighting games?
Someone's just getting in. This is the best time to get in. The resources are all over the place. There are Discords or websites. I would say don't be worried about becoming good before you enter tournaments or anything. Even if it's the first time you play, just enter, just play. There's some people who get very scared that they're not good enough to enter an online tournament or a bracket, and they wait for a certain level of preparation. But that is not if you keep waiting, you'll never get better, improve to that point. The best way to improve is just to jump in Don't be afraid of asking people for advice. That's what I did. Again, Chai Rithi, Snafu, there was Rami. There was a lot of players in the Montreal scene who helped me, and I was not afraid of asking them for advice. Even sometimes I'd see their matches and ask them what they think they did wrong and stuff like that. And if they were nice enough to answer me right after a loss, I took that to heart. And I try to take those sources of information to improve my game wherever I could. Again, there are discords that you can participate for your specific character. Find guides. There's so many videos. So like, just steady up. Don't be afraid of entering tournaments, entering online, and just play, and you'll improve that way.
Awesome, great advice. Thanks for talking with us today.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Hey y'all, we're back and we have an interview with Mushy Rice.
Hi, that's me.
We're gonna ask you a few questions. So what have you been up to lately? Any new projects or games?
For context, I'm kind of a tournament organizer, event organizer in Toronto. So I've been doing for GOML, I've been doing some beginner-friendly tournaments. Some people have known me for the Fried Rice tournament or a Lego Beyblade tournament. But I've just been up to my own little events, whatever comes to mind. What projects am I working on right now? I recently worked on this small little 3-part series for Destination Toronto X GOML. Check it out with Moki, Riddles, and Toronto Joe. That's been my latest project, and yeah, whatever comes next. I'm gonna take a break and then hopefully it comes back.
That was awesome. Once I watched the series, I was getting so hungry after.
I appreciate it. We worked really hard on it, so I'm glad you really liked it.
Yeah. How did you get into tournament organizing?
Ooh, so I'm gonna out my boyfriend here. But one night he was like, "There's no locals. I can't practice. It sucks, and now I suck at the game because I can't practice." And in my head, me being naive, me never tournament organized in my life, was like, I'm gonna make locals happen again.
Oh, yeah.
So I just in my head thought of all the places that I could have been to do it. And one day I ended up at Studio Mise and Rooms 915 DuPont, and they were hosting a Smash tournament, and it went terribly. They had no organization. So I went up to the guy and I lied to him and I said, I know how to tournament organize. I didn't know. He's like, you can do the next one. So I went to Waterloo, trained there for a month, and then I did my first tournament, and it had a great turnout, and it's been a ride ever since.
Awesome. And what do you think is the most positive thing you've seen coming from tournament organizing?
Ooh, it's just the community and the smiles that it brings together. Whenever someone says, oh, I met an amazing friend through this, and it's kind of caused a change in my life in a good way. It's something I never expected doing it, and I just love bringing these communities together, having those third spaces. When it becomes really impactful and becomes precious memories for people, I think that's the biggest thing and the greatest thing I can take out of it. It's just making people's days.
For sure. You can meet a lot of good friends and find a lot of common interests. So I really like going to tournaments as well.
Yeah, for sure. Tournaments or any sort of events, it's just a great way for you to get out of your day-to-day and get into a new space.
So how did you get into fighting games?
Through my boyfriend, but also all my life, I played Super Smash Bros. I started with Melee, Project M, Brawl. Mostly was in Wii U was my peak. Then I took a little bit of a break, and then we started dating, and I got back into Ultimate. But
Nice.
yeah, I've been playing all my life.
Who do you main in Smash?
I main Pikachu and Marth in Ultimate. Smash 4 I main Marth. Project M I main Ivysaur. In Melee I main Marth and Sheik. And in Brawl I main Sonic.
Awesome. That's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
And what draws you to these kind of characters?
They're cute. Yeah, they're cute. I'm not a picky person as long as they look good.
That's fair. You gotta go to a character that you find interesting for sure.
One that just really resonates with you. Pikachu really resonates with me.
That's fair. What do you find toughest part about competing in tournament?
Ooh, competing in tournament, it's definitely the nerves. I get really nervous. There's definitely one of the toughest parts is thinking, oh, I could have done this better, or if only if I played a little bit more patient, maybe I studied a little bit more. That is definitely, I think, the hardest part of competition. But otherwise, it just is what it is. Just compete. Have fun. I don't really compete that much, but whenever I do, it does feel like, oh, I should have studied more. I should have practiced more. I should play more patient. And you get a little hard on yourself for not trying a little harder.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any goals you're working towards for future tournament organizing?
I just want to make fun events. I don't really have any big goals as of right now, but when the inspiration comes and the vision is being able to be held, they'll definitely be there. But for now, I just want to make people happy.
Awesome. How do you feel about where the FGC is at right now?
It's in a really interesting place. I see Street Fighter is having an amazing boom of fans from all around, casuals. You know, they're doing an amazing push for having this fighting game come out into like kind of like the normals, and I see a lot of Capcom like supporting it, which is amazing, right?
Yes.
Because I'm mostly Smash, I know that what it's like to have your company not really support your game. So to see that for Capcom and see how like Capcom Cup and all this like merch and all this money into it, it's really beautiful. So I'm thinking FGC is going in a really awesome direction, and the more younger players I'm seeing really get into it, and people are making all their cosplays and their fan art, and there's lots of artists that come with it. It's supporting a humongous community of people and providing jobs and means for people to live every day, right, and do what they love. So it's going amazing. I think it's in a great place.
Same. And like also, yeah, they're doing more bigger prize pools too, so making it like viable for an actual job. So it's pretty cool. Are there any players, streamers, or creators you really look up to in the community?
Ooh. I really look up to. This is really weird. I look up to Aquila, like in Smash. Spargo and Aquila are like one of my favorite players, even though they're really young. I think that they're both extremely humble, but they're very, very good at their games. And I kind of want to follow suit. It's just, yeah, whenever I see them, I just think, wow, they're amazing. So I'd like to be like that too.
Awesome. Last question. Do you have any advice you want to give to anyone who's just getting into fighting games?
Don't be discouraged. It could be daunting at first, and there's a lot to learn, and it could feel like you're alone at times, but really just see the community come together, see the energy that comes with it, and if it resonates with you, maybe you should follow suit. But if not, then you can find your other things too. But when you feel that energy and you're feeling like it's resonating within you, maybe this is where you gotta be, and you just keep going to figure out where you can have a place in it.
Awesome. Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
Hey, we're back, and we have an interview with Alex. We're just going to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
First off, what have you been up to lately? Any new projects or games?
Game-wise, is just as far as like what I've been playing, I guess. Yeah, it's been a lot of Street Fighter. It's just been been falling in and out of love with 6 specifically. I played 5 a lot, and so coming in and out there, it's on the rise this season at least. It's been really fun to play. So it's mostly just been Street Fighter, just trying to play, wanting to compete, and play more of these events.
Oh, yeah. Now, who did you play in Street Fighter 5?
I was a Fang player.
Oh my
in
God.
Street Fighter 5. I was one of the best Fang players in the world, unironically. Yes, I went to Capcom Cup in 2023. I was the Canada West representative, even though I lost my World Warrior, but it was a very good experience. But yes, I have a very, very fond love of Street Fighter 5.
Awesome. I love it too. What first got you into fighting games?
Funny enough, the very first, I played fighting games when I was a kid, but never seriously. It was very casual voy or endeavor. And when I was in college in 2013, one of my classmates was watching, I think it might have been CEO in class. That might not line up timeline-wise, but it was some bracket, and it was actually watching 801 Strider's Abel, where I was like, damn, that's awesome. That's really cool. And that same friend introduced me to the fighting game community within Ottawa. He's no longer playing fighting games, but I'm still here all that time later and still going strong with the Ottawa scene. So it's been I'm very grateful that I got introduced, and it's a very surreal experience as well, now that I'm on like a friendly basis with Strider after him being basically what got me into the game in the first place.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what got you into organizing tournaments?
As far as organizing tournaments, this is actually my first time working an event before. That was my first time running a pool. I have seen, with a lot of the Ottawa guys there, we, Battle City, the Ottawa community, were the ones that were running Street Fighter this year. And from what I've seen, T.Oing seemed like an easy enough thing to do, specifically just bracket running, and really, I guess, wanting to give back. I feel like I've done a lot of, not to say it's a negative, but I've done a lot of take from as far as the fighting game community goes, and so it's kind of nice to be able to give back and also be in a position where I can run a bracket the way that I would envision I would want my own bracket run. So that was a really great experience, and my voice is still recovering today.
That's fair. It's a lot of like talking loud and
I
stuff.
was yelling my head off yesterday. That's the great part. I don't need a mic. Everyone can hear me fine. But it was rougher on the voice than I anticipated. That's for sure.
That's cool though. So in Street Fighter 6, for people who don't know, who do you main and what draws you to them?
So I'm a Manal player, which is a very drastic jump coming from Fang, who's a very pokey character. And very offense-based, and going straight to a grappler who is relatively short-ranged. Firstly, I just like Manal from an aesthetic place. And in this game specifically, having a command grab feels so good. I really, really enjoy the feeling of someone parrying and then getting the command grab and just absolutely deleting so much of their health bar.
Yeah, scary.
I find I have trouble playing characters who are very popular or very strong. Part of what drew me to Fang initially was that no one really played him, and so I had that chance to be the guy. You know, I'm that Canadian Fang. I'm the Canadian Manol, and then that I take a lot of pride in that. But mostly, I think she looks really pretty.
Yeah, she's really beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. Long legs. And despite Aki being in the game, which seems like a natural transition for most of the Fang players, unfortunately, what really drew me to Fang, other than the fact that no one played him, was that he had very, very strong normals. That space control, the neutral that he had, was really what I enjoyed on the character, and that Aki does not have that whatsoever. She's a very, very, if she wants to do anything long range, it's very committal.
Yes.
And she's not really using her normals outside of like stand medium kick in neutral, which just isn't my jam. I really like Manal's neutral and her buttons being very, very strong, very much about control.
So how do you generally get ready for tournaments? Any routine?
Not a routine per se, but more of a mindset. I've found over the years of competing that going into events with high expectations can be a bit of a pitfall. I like to avoid the strong emotional response from failing to meet expectations. It's always fun to exceed them, but I've definitely found that if I focus, especially as a stronger player, if I focus too much on a match that's further down the line, then I'm going to end up losing sight of the matches that are ahead. So I find it really important for myself that I focus on the immediate match and nothing past that. I knew that Scrot Vermilion was in my path, very, very strong Luke player, but it doesn't matter if I don't get to it.
Right.
And especially with Street Fighter 6, any of these players can be absolute killers. I might not know their name, but there's a high chance that they're just very good players that we just haven't heard of. Maybe less so in Ontario, but definitely at larger events, definitely in Japan, it could be a random online killer. So I find gauging those expectations to be really important in my own preparation process. And just trying to make sure I'm warmed up with the game as well.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Do you have any goals you're working towards for future tournaments?
I find I might be actually coming away from having goals in a sense. Just, you know, I got to go to Capcom Cup as kind of like the culmination of everything that had been going on in Street Fighter V, and I didn't do amazing, but I managed to take games from some really strong players, even if I didn't take the set. In Street Fighter 6, it's been a lot of fighting against the design of the game for myself, just because I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Drive Rush and some of the design decisions within the game. Right now, especially being more on the up of as far as my perception of the game and where the design is at, or balance is at, I think is really important. I think just competing more and going to events, because I really haven't been, going to events and just enjoying the social time and enjoying competing again with much less stakes, not as much identity tied towards being a top player or being a very strong player or a just below top player. I don't want to be too cocky.
Oh, come on.
So right now, yeah, it's just going to more events, enjoying the social time, and mainly, yeah, just really trying to enjoy myself while I'm playing.
That's
and maybe do something really funny against my opponents. Because
Throw them all.
yes, well, one of my matches, the one right before to get out of pools for in the bracket, I won the set with wake up command grab
Wow.
on a read on the shimmy, which just and it's the feeling, like obviously it feels good to do that, but just seeing them kind of deflate as it happens or laugh or like getting that reaction is such a big part of a lot of the things that I do in the game. It's just, it's so fun. Like you're having a conversation and I'm trying to crack jokes during the game. Like it's that kind of, that's really where I want to be as a player.
Yeah, I like to see that because like a lot of people, they're like very kind of straight faced
Absolutely.
in the game. They don't want to react, but yeah.
It's fun, you know. You're interacting with your opponent on almost an intimate kind of degree, and that's it can be really fun if you let it be. That's like my local is so I really enjoy, especially our top players are so fun to play against because we're all very good friends, but everyone generally is okay with having a more social, competitive drive, and that's really fun.
Yeah, I love that about the community. Do you have a favorite memory or tournament moment from tournaments you've played in?
I mean, Capcom Cup as a whole, but there's a couple matches where, specifically the mirror against Mono at Capcom Cup was so much fun. And it was the only match I actually won. So it was like such a fun feeling, and everyone being able to go back and see the chat and they're actually like really enjoying themselves. There was one round where we were both at like one hit and to kill for like 20 seconds, and I could hear the crowd screaming every time we were super close to hitting each other. It was just such it elicits a lot of very positive emotions for me there. And then the other one is in 2019 at an event called The Pinnacle in Vancouver. I managed to eliminate Justin Wong from the bracket on a very cool like final mix-up off a feature or activation, and that felt really cool. That was really cool, and that was especially in the hometown. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, I could imagine the crowd just going crazy.
We were all losing our minds. He also got sent to losers by another local, so it was just really like a team effort to get rid of Justin Wong kind of thing. It was really cool.
Awesome, I love to hear that. How do you feel about where the FGC is right now?
The community as a whole, it's hard to say. I'm off of Twitter now just because it's not necessary. I don't find it's a very good place to be as much, and I think it's tough to stay in tune right now with the FGC when Twitter is kind of the sole global socialization point. That is the forum that everyone uses to keep up with events, to keep up with in each other even.
Yeah.
Having a very strong and close-knit local scene has been super huge. As far as events go, it's been really nice to see, I think Brian F. actually talked about this a little bit, where it's been nice to see the larger scale events start to try to do more for the O2ers. Start to do more for people. Like, it's becoming less of a tournament that you're going to and more of an event, more of a convention, where when you're done your bracket, you're not just, okay, well, what am I doing for the rest of the weekend? Am I just gonna play games? No, there's things to do now. You can go and do things. Like GOML, for instance, doesn't really have that. You know, you're done the bracket, okay, like what am I just watching games for the rest of the weekend? Like, what else is there to do here other than play games? Which, you know, that is what we're really here to do. But it can be tough when you come here, you spend hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands depending on how far you're traveling, and you're playing bracket for 15 minutes. And then you're done. And that can be tough. Otherwise, yeah, I think the fighting game community, it's only getting larger. The games are only getting more popular. Street Fighter 6 is a global phenomenon. Like, it's really exciting to see a niche community start to grow. Not just start to grow, but explode, basically. Especially like Say Jam Slam, like bringing so many new eyes onto the franchise. It's really exciting. someone who's been entrenched for so long.
It's super cool. I feel like it's a really good point, especially like not for just for players coming in, but like cosplayers, T.Os, like artists.
That's a great point. That's a fantastic point. It's like there are a lot of people who just come to spectate, or they're not just in it for the games, you know? They're in it for the community or any of those kinds of things. And so it's important to have those things to do. Evo, I think, is doing a much better job in that regard. Like, they're kind of the stepping stone, or maybe Combo Breaker first, where they have a lot of the side things to do, and then Evo really stepping up. But that, I feel like, is partly because Rick took over organizing Evo. So it kind of makes sense that it would follow in Combo Breaker's footsteps. And so hopefully more events take that as a priority.
Yeah, I hope so too. Just for last question, what advice would you give to someone who's just getting into fighting games?
That is, that's a very loaded question. I think so the speech that I try and give to anyone that I'm trying to teach is that I believe the most important thing in fighting games is intent. What that means is when you take an action, you should be doing it because you are trying to accomplish something, because there is some kind of thing that you are trying to do with each action you're taking. That can be as simple as walking left and right. Why are you walking forward? Why are you walking back? Those are things that you should strive to know, and all of your actions should be executed with intent. What that means, there's a couple things that go into that intent. That means there's the knowledge base, which is understanding what it is that you want to do. Whether that's, I want to punish this attack. Okay, what do I need to know to do that? Okay, what is it on block? What is it? I keep getting hit by this. How do I beat it? This is what I need to do. So there's a lot of research that needs to go into it. I do believe you should just play. You just play a lot, and then you'll learn as you go.
Yeah.
But the other side of that knowledge is having the dexterity to then execute your intent. And that's where that isn't really something that you can't really study that. You have to be playing the game a lot. You have to practice in training mode. You have to do, but if you build those two things together, then you can really start having that conversation with your opponent. You're like, okay, they're doing this thing. How do I beat that thing? I know XYZ options. What do I do? So that, I think, is the largest. It's not necessarily a concrete, tangible way to learn the game. Generally, it would be ideally followed up with more concrete instructions, like, okay, what do we want to learn first? We're going to learn combos. We're going to do that kind of stuff. But I do believe that should be the goal when you're playing the game. Otherwise, find your local scene. That is, finding people to play with in person as opposed to online is such a large differentiator between your enjoyment of the game. It's so much more fun to come to an event and play with people. And when you can do it on a more intimate scale, like at a local, where you can meet the people, see the same people every week, improve, get training with them, it will make a huge difference, I find, in the enjoyment of the game. We have a guy from our Ottawa local who came to us when he was in gold, and now he is a 1600 master player within a year. He is improving at drastic pace, but that's just, there's always so many people that are willing to help a new player. It doesn't matter how good you are, just go and play. Like, you love the same things we love. Let's do it. Let's play. And yeah.
That's a great answer, guys. Go to your locals. That's the big thing here. Thank you for talking to us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for interviewing me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, we're back, and today we're going to have an interview with SJ, one of the local top players. First off, what have you been up to lately? Any new projects or games?
Mostly just playing Street Fighter, working, trying to find a balance between the two. I do want to start streaming again, but I just need to find the time to do so. Make content as well, make YouTube videos. Kind of want to make a Rashid guide maybe, but we'll see. I just want to get better at the game, get more knowledgeable before I can start that.
That's fair. What first got you into fighting games?
Oh man. So my dad used to take me to the arcades up at Woodbine.
Nice.
After that, I just got really into fighting games. Like, started just buying them on the PS2, on the PS3, and then like I heard about the Toronto top tiers locals, and I started going to those ones.
Okay, and what year was that in?
2012, the first Taryukin is my first tournament.
Oh, nice. Wow. So that takes us way back.
Yeah.
What's your favorite fighting game to play and why?
My favorite fighting game is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3,
Nice.
and because it's just a really fast game, I like the speed, just the combos, the mix-ups. It's really fun.
Are there any new characters you're excited to try?
I'm excited to try Sea Viper. She's coming out after Sagat, and she's like very Marvel-esque, very like fast character. So I'm really excited to try her out.
Honestly, same here, honestly.
Yeah.
How do you generally get ready for a tournament?
I just practice, like go online, play rank, because rank's 2 out of 3. It's very similar to the tournament experience. I also see who's in my pool, see what characters they're playing, and like just play people playing those characters just to get a matchup experience.
How do you stay calm or deal with nerves when it's time to play?
Water is really important. Also, just having like just me time, just sitting around, just thinking about the game, thinking about like the habits, thinking about like the matches I've played, what I need to work on. And when in the game, I take my time. If I lose a game, like I take like maybe like a minute. If I win a game that's really close, I want to like just slow it down a bit.
Yeah, that makes sense because a lot of people they just honestly rush back in and it's not great.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, and I've lost a lot of times that way. Like, I'll just get like really like tense up when I get back into the game, and I'm making all these mistakes.
Do you have a favorite memory or moment from a tournament you've played in?
Funny enough, it's a loss actually, but it was at Canada Cup 2015, and I played Filipino champ in Marvel, and it was 3-2, really close, and the crowd, everyone just cheering for me. It felt really like nice. Yeah, but even though I lost, it's still a tournament match I never forget.
How do you feel about where the FGC is right now?
I think FGC is at a really good place right now. Like a lot of tournaments, people entering online. Like if you can't go out to a local tournament, you can always play online. If not, local scene's right there for you. A lot of tournaments. The only problem is, I guess, traveling. Like especially us Canadians, it's really expensive to travel to the States. So that's kind of a struggle. Other than that, but locally, we're still fine. There's still a lot of tournaments every day, online tournaments, so we can make up for it.
What do you love most about being a part of the fighting game scene?
Honestly, like after high school, I found that it really struggle to find friends that like the same things I do. Even when I went to college, didn't really like match with anyone. Then when I joined like the fighting game scene, like I found people like not just in the fighting game, doing the same movies, the same music, the same like anime, all that stuff. So I do like having a scene full of people with similar interests to you.
Yeah, that's honestly really comforting. Like, not only do you play games together, but you can chill together too.
Exactly, yeah. I think all of my closest friends right now have come from the scene, and I'm really grateful for that.
Nice. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to get into fighting games?
Take your time. It's not a race, it's a marathon. Like even if like you don't see results, just keep playing, ask questions. Like right now, it's a good time to learn. There's a lot of resources on Discord, on YouTube, like all these guys that can help you get better. Just like enjoy the process instead of the results, I'd say, is like my advice.
100%. All right, thanks for your time today.
No worries, you have a good one. Take care.
Hey y'all, it's Dizen, and today we have Annarf. We're gonna ask her a few questions. First off, what you been up to lately? Any new projects or games?
I do a lot of streaming. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Expedition 33. I'm just desperately waiting for Sagat to come out. He's coming out soon.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just filling my time in the meantime with whatever I can keep my mind on to just pass the time more quickly.
For sure. And what first got you into fighting games?
I used to go to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament in the University of Ottawa. There was like a comic book shop, and in the basement was an arcade. And we used to go down there. We would play pool and ping pong, but we always watched people playing fighting games. Ottawa had a really good X-Men versus Street Fighter player. We had some good Third Strike players, some good MVC2 players, some good CVS2 players. And my sister and I just started button mashing on arcade cabinets at like 13 years old. And I don't know, it was just so much fun. The community was really small, it was really enjoyable, everyone was just having a good time, and they just wanted to compete. So I just kind of went from there.
That's awesome. You gotta start and jump in, guys. Don't be afraid. Go to your locals, jump in. What would you say is your favorite fighting game for now and why?
I mean, I haven't really played fighting games too much in the last decade or so, but the first game that I kind of tried my hand at was Street Fighter 4. And Sagat came out as just an absolute monster. Like his worst matchup was just, he was still like so favored. So it was really fun to play a character that was just completely broken and just feel like despite the fact that maybe I wasn't that good at the game, my character was insane. So I could just, knee people in the face and feel powerful. So I feel like that was really fun.
For sure. The broken characters are the most fun ones.
Yeah.
Are there any new characters you're excited to try out?
Ingrid looks cool, but obviously I'm just, a month away from Sagat. That's all I want to try. I'm also intrigued to see what Sea Viper will be like with the whole drive rush system. It seems terrifying. I mean, I watched a bit of her in like Street Fighter 4 and whatnot, and she was a monster. So add that extra speed in, and I'm intrigued to see whether or not she'll be good. So. Yeah.
Me too. Not gonna lie. How do you feel about where the FGC is at right now?
It's kind of awesome. When I started watching Street Fighter and fighting games in general, EVO was like a small event. A couple hundred people would go. There were so few people involved, so few people knew other people's names. Daigo was well known, but otherwise it was just a very niche thing. And now it's, GOML has a ton of people. It's really encouraging to see how much it's grown and how much esports has really thrived in the last couple of decades. It's kind of like sports. It's a competition. You have to really hone your skill. You have to really focus on getting better and not take the losses to heart too hard. And it's just, I'm really pleased to see that there's such a huge community of people who are really excited to just participate. And the fighting game community is so different than other games, You go watch a Valorant tournament, you're not playing. You go watch Counter-Strike, you're not playing. League of Legends, you're not playing. So the FGC is just so much more inclusive. It's really exciting.
100% agree. And also we have a lot of people coming out, even just supporting players in cosplay, which is really fun.
That's so cool. There's just so much participation. There's so much for everybody.
Yeah, exactly, guys. Come out. We can't say this enough. What do you love most about being a part of the fighting game scene?
Again, just the fact that it's so tight-knit, that in other communities for other games, there's such a massive player base and a lot of it is online. You don't get to ever interact with the best players. You don't get to ever play against the best players unless you're really ridiculously good and then you play in ranked or something. But it's that's so infrequent. Here, people can, I guess money matching isn't as common as it once was, but you could sit down and ask your favorite player, hey, can I get a set in? Do you have any tips? You can just, sit down with your friends and level up and then go and compete together and improve together and motivate each other. It's nice to see. I love it.
Agreed. I did play a few top players myself. Did I do well? No. But it's fun and I got to learn.
Yeah.
They gave me tips. Any advice you would give to someone who's just getting into fighting games?
I think my favorite phrase for fighting games is losing is learning. You're not gonna win right away. You're not gonna win in the first few months. You're, obviously in ranked, you'll play against people your skill level and you'll improve, but sooner or later you'll probably hit a wall and you have to really overcome your own demons to level up. And I think there's some people who don't do well with losing, right? It's like a confidence thing. It's an ego thing sometimes where they don't like the idea of losing, so they stop what they're doing to do something else that makes them feel more rewarded. And I think that you need to sort of find reward in those losses and find ways to just sort of strive for something more. And find a character you like. It doesn't matter if they're top tier or not, just find someone you like.
Agreed. Thanks again for taking the time to talk with us.